to weather.com/social. Now you're local on the 8s.
A flash flood watch and the tropical storm warning have been issued for our area by the National Weather Service. Currently, the temperature is 76 degrees with rainy conditions. Our local Doppler radar. For tonight, windy with rain, heavy at times, low 75. Winds east-southeast at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Flooding is possible in flood-prone areas. And on Saturday, windy with rain, heavy at times, high 79. Winds east-southeast at 25 to 35 miles per hour. Flooding is possible in flood-prone areas. And Saturday night, windy with rain, heavy at times, low 76. Flooding is possible in flood-prone areas. The week ahead.
And good evening, everyone, from New Orleans, Louisiana, where for at least the moment, I want to stress that word, the rain is not incredibly heavy, but the winds continue to stay up, and as long as the winds are up and from the same direction, which they will be here, we have the chance to pile up water. That's a dangerous scenario here for a city that sits below sea level. We'll talk about the rainfall we expect and the impacts on the Big Easy coming up as Tropical Storm Lee coverage continues.
Welcome back to Weather Center Live. This is a look at the radar, so where the rain is falling right now in Louisiana and New Orleans, getting hit by some of the heavier rain right now. Good evening to you. You're watching Weather Center Live. I'm Chris Warren.
And I'm Crystal Ager. There is a lot more rain being pumped in there out of the Gulf. It's 10:30 Eastern right now, 9:30 in New Orleans. And tonight we are tracking the threat for flooding and heavy rain along the Gulf Coast from Tropical Storm Lee.
And we want to begin right now in New Orleans, back with Storm Tracker Jim Cantore. Hello to you, Jim.
Hey guys, yeah, you know, when you go back and look at the last 24 hours here, all the planning that's gone underway between the Army Corps and the city, of course, getting the oil rigs evacuated, if you will, and even talking, well, you know, hey, we're gonna lose a little oil production in through here, but really not having it be that bad because of the fact that demand is not that high, so that's going to kind of even out in through here. We haven't fared that bad yet. So that's the good news. The bad news is it's what's to come over the next 48 to potentially 60 hours that could cause the big problems in through here. But obviously a very fine choreographing going on of the water that's coming into New Orleans, both by surge as well as rainfall, being taken out of the city. So you got to keep the bowl clean, as they're saying here in New Orleans. Let's talk about how other people are getting prepared. Of course, they've been handing out sandbags in St. Bernard Parish, which is one of the lower areas here in the New Orleans area. And it's not just St. Bernard that's preparing. St. Tammany Parish is asking people to trim some of the trees that are near power lines that are near their house, because that is a big concern there. It's a heavily wooded area up toward Lake Pontchartrain. And should we get this saturation that we're expecting, even the winds that we're getting now are going to cause a lot of these trees to come on down. So a multi-layered, multi-hazard, potentially tropical storm here, one that will probably see its worst impacts, not so much tonight, but we think during the day tomorrow and possibly in towards Sunday as well. And remember, guys, the track with this isn't etched in stone. Just because some of the models are bringing it in tomorrow doesn't mean it won't bounce off the coast, because we really aren't too far removed from that. Again, the rainfall is heaviest in southwest Louisiana, and down again south of Lafayette. But as we look off to our east, more of the banding features are coming in, and that could get heavier as we go through the night tonight. All right, this is a map I wanted to show you for the second consecutive night. This graphic from the Hydro Prediction Center, which goes out 5 days and tries to estimate the rainfall, as you can see, paints a grim picture for New Orleans. That is a 23.2-inch ball of rainfall right over the city, which will be a catastrophe. As you know, most of the rain is going to come in the next 3 days. So that could very well be a 23.2-inch ball in 3 days. Should that occur, I think flooding is going to be unavoidable. It's going to be unavoidable if we get that kind of rainfall. And I've even seen these graphics often underestimate tropical rainfall. Now, that said, the National Weather Service is going for 10 to 15 inches of rain, which is a lot more comfortable, but they'll obviously change that as they see this whole thing developing through here. So, guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of the evening this evening, we are going to be talking about what is a nowcast situation. We are going to have to watch these rain bands set up. Should they sit over the city for an extended period of time, we will flood. Once this situation gets north of New Orleans, there's a chance to pick up beneficial rainfall for Alabama, Georgia, and parts of the southern Appalachians. Anywhere north of Virginia, and that's the last thing we need right now. Kelly, back to you.
Absolutely, Jim. And right now we're thinking that places like Virginia on into the northeast will likely see the remnants of Lee working with the frontal boundary as well. So that will be another issue as we get into next week. For now, the problem will be along the Gulf Coast. We're talking about not just rainfall flooding, but also storm surge. We are predicting anywhere from 2 to 4 foot above ground level storm surge, especially to the right or to the east of the center of circulation, which is where all the heavy rain is going on right now as well. So a rather lopsided system. We're not seeing much on the left side or the west side, if you will. Some of this heavier rain is beginning to try to wrap around the center of circulation. Keep in mind the radar beams can't quite see that far out from land, but it would be nice to see some of that rainfall get into Texas, but that is just not the case. Right now the winds are 45 miles an hour. This is as of the 7 o'clock advisory. Next advisory comes in about 20 minutes or so, so we're waiting that. It's been moving to the north very slowly, only at about 3 miles an hour, so that's why we're going to be dealing with inches upon inches of rainfall, if not feet of rainfall. As Jim was just mentioning, the water vapor clearly showing the dry air on the west side of the system, the greens, the whites. That indicates a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. The winds are picking up, as you just saw from Jim's live shot. These are sustained winds, especially when you get into some of these rain bands, 20 to 30 mile an hour sustained, gusting even higher than that, around 50 or 60. And that is why we got the red painted on the map here along the Gulf Coast. High threat of rainfall, flooding, and of course the storm surge. We'll have to watch that depending on the track and intensity. Crystal, back to you.